Hey, good morning. What time did we start at? Way too early o'clock?
5:45, I think.
5:45. What time is it now?
I think it's a little after.
7, almost 7, 6:55.
Yeah, 6:50 something.
So it's at an hour and 10 minutes. Oh, look at these little pretty flowers.
Steve!
Look at those. And Michelle is excited, so she's obviously seeing goats.
Over here,
And there they are.
on the trail.
Where are they? Oh, right here. Goats. Right there. See them? All in here.
There's a baby goat.
It's apparently a baby goat. So we're almost 7 o'clock and we just finished climbing up into this beautiful place here called Twin Lakes. I'm assuming there's another one. And we are halfway up. Went from 11,000 to 12,400 and we're going to just a little over 14,000. And we're going to walk by some goats. They are rough looking, but cute. Okay, I might take some pictures of goats if we can get close enough. Wish me luck, halfway there. So we're climbing up to Mount Windom. And we've just got up to the Twin Lakes area. Very pretty here. And we've come across a family of mountain goats. There they are. Michelle's gonna go try and pet one right there. Look, there's a little baby up on the top. Papa. They're the daddy goat. So we're supposed to go through this little trail here, and the goats are on the trail. Because we gotta get to the base of that head wall there. Somehow climb up it 300 feet to get to the upper basin. Goats, you're on our trail. Oh,
That little baby is so cute.
hey, little baby goat. Don't headbutt us. Your little horns look pretty sharp. We're just passing through. We're just passing through. We're staying on our trail. Don't fret. Hey, baby goat.
So cute.
Doop boop.
Hi, everybody.
Y'all are so cute.
Y'all are really cute. Now I'm really happy to see some goats.
Okay, we're climbing up. You can see Mount Windom. We're at 12,872 feet.
That's our
Michelle's
objective.
pointing to Mount Windom up there.
There's the objective.
There we go. There's Sunlight Peak behind us. We're not going to do that one. She decided she wants to go way over there to do North Eolus. That's fine. And we got snow up here. I take my jacket off, my toque. You Americans call it a beanie because I'm working so hard, I'm hot.
My fingers are frozen.
Your
I can't
fingers
wait
are
for
always
the sun
frozen.
to hit.
Anyway, so we're gonna have something to drink, something like water
Snack.
and snacks, and then we're gonna start working our way up there. Clunk. Well, we are on our way up to Windom Peak, and we've just left the upper basin, which is above 200 feet above Twin Lakes. And we were working our way up this mass of boulders. And we've got probably a little over 1,000 feet to go to get up to Windom. Making sure to step on something that's loose. Although I guess it's all technically loose. And Windom is over the top there. There's sunlight up there. Hey, we're almost at 13,100 feet. Michelle's leading the way, finding all these little cairns. Apparently there's one up there somewhere. And then we're gonna keep hiking up that ridge to that sucker there. That's Windom Peak. I guess it's another 900 feet above us. How many miles do you think that is? A tenth of a mile? It's always way longer than it seems, or way shorter than it seems.
Less than half.
Less than half a mile. Sweet, let's do it. We are closing in
560, so close.
about 400 feet, 400 or 500 feet. And you got all these big rocks. This is what we're navigating right now. And we're way above where we camped, which is down there. Beautiful clear day. It's been pouring rain here every afternoon recently, so our goal is to get through this, get off the mountain, because we want to go down here, back to the start-ish, and then climb up that mountain over there before early afternoon, in case it starts raining again. So here we go. So this is where the climb for me actually got super crazy. Michelle told me afterwards that she's getting a little freaked out around this section here, but you don't know it during the climb. I'm the only one that's talking about being scared. So if you're looking down to the left here, you can see it's I think a couple thousand feet, because we were at 11 or 12,000 at the base of the upper basin there, and the peak is 14,000. So I'm thinking a couple thousand feet down to the left, and then down to the right, you'll see in a second, it's just a sheer drop off. It was nuts, and we should have gone right up through the center of this wall here, but Michelle went around to the right, which freaked me out, so then I decided after that I'm going way farther to the left.
Which you can go around the way that I went too.
Not
But
necessarily.
it was a little more exposure on that side.
So I'm gonna pass it off to Michelle here to talk about what she's doing here and what the drop offs were like, because I was like, yeah, no thanks. So
I'm actually a little scared of heights, but I love to do this kind of thing and climbing. And I just was staying focused on what was in front of me and not looking off to the side, focusing on the heights. But I kind of knew it was when it would get pretty bad, because I could hear Steve saying, "Oh."
this is really steep.
But it was very steep, and I think on this section we were still pretty much on the standard route. And I was just trying to look for these little cairns that people had set up to try to keep us on course, but sometimes they're hard to spot, and it's just a lot of loose rock. You have to really test all we're going slow, but you have to really test the rock before you commit your weight to it to make sure it was stable, because it was a little scary, the drop-offs on the side there. I'm actually surprised that I'm climbing that so easy looking at this video now, because I really am a little iffy about heights like that.
Yeah, that's a long way down right there. So after we went up through this this wall here, there's a little crevice here on the left that Michelle just shot up. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm following her. She didn't die. And then we get to this section here, which is farther around to the left. After we went up that little cut, and I saw some cairns over to the left, which were a route, but what I think it got us on was a hard class 3 route, whereas this should be an easy 2, or
Hard to.
But I made it a hard 3 by going this way. And right around here, Michelle zipped up through this section here, but this is all loose rock and dirt, and as I mentioned, this is on the left side, so there's a couple thousand feet down to the upper basin. So I'm looking for solid rock, and I had what I thought my feet on a solid rock, until the rocks that I had my hand on started slipping, and then my added weight going onto my feet made those rocks start slipping. So yeah, no, that was not a good feeling. So it's like, oh crud.
And
how long is this gonna go for?
yeah, and you can't see here, but when that started slipping on him, I turned back because the area behind him, very steep, and it just falls off thousands of feet. I mean, and if he were to slide all the way up that rock, if he could keep going, he would have just kept sliding down, and I had nothing to extend out to him. So I offered him a little bit of advice right there, which was to grab something solid.
Firm, yeah, thanks for that. That helped a lot. Fortunately, I didn't slide for very long before I got another point of contact here is where I'm sliding right there. And I think I got my right hand out onto something to grab that was a little bit more firm, and then that sort of stopped me. And then I quickly got off that section and back onto some more solid, bigger boulders that were less likely to slide on me. So that was, yeah, not a good feeling at all. Really happy to get off this little area here because it was not comfortable for sure. But beautiful views, that's for sure.
You can see we're wearing gloves, and on this route, I would highly recommend if you ever do Windom Peak to bring some gloves to protect your hands, because the scrambling on this route starts really early in the climb, and it's a lot of scrambling, which means you got to use your hands and your feet to navigate up some of these routes. It's steep. Once you reach the saddle and start climbing the ridge, it's really steep from there on to the top. So something to keep in mind.
And so we're just going up through these big boulder fields that are really just. It seems like the mountain was really just a bunch of really broken up rock.
It's a little bit more solid, so that's
really hard to navigate
that
through.
dirt.
And the thing I was always thinking about is like, especially when we realized we were off route on this left side, how many people have gone through this area, and are these big, huge boulders, rock chunks that would probably weigh hundreds or if not thousands of pounds, are they going to tilt and come loose and fall on us? So it's like, yeah, not comfortable through this section until I figured we were back on the proper route. But yeah, it was good to get through this for sure. And then as we got to the top, not a comfortable feeling. It was really high, really steep drop-offs on it. And again, just big, broken up rock. It was not like you're standing on a solid mountain rock or a rock of mountain. It was just all these big boulders kind of crumbled and thrown on top of each other. It was pretty spectacular to look at it now, but during it, not a comfortable feeling.
No,
while we
and
were up
you'd
there.
be surprised. Like you'd think you were stepping or reaching out to grab. I mean, some of these rocks are really big and they look like they'd be really solid. And as soon as you start to put a little weight, having these massive boulders just shift on you was pretty terrifying. But that's hence the helmets also, because at any time one of those rocks could come loose, or I could have kicked one down on his head, or an animal climbing up above us could kick one of those down, and I want to make sure your head's protected.
Mm-hmm. So we'll just let's watch the rest of the climb here as we get up to the top, and then we'll jump back in.
there's one there. That's a tree, right? Get the summit. Get off the sucker. Hopefully not as hard as it was to get up. All these rocks look like they're just teetering. We're nowhere near. You do not want to look to the right.
So here we just come up over this rise and wham! Right away you can see right over the top of where we were climbing to the other side, big steep drop off, and you look back to the other side where we were, another a little bit more gradual, but pretty significant drop off back down into the upper basin. And oh yeah, it just freaked me out. And getting up to the top there was again just big, huge boulders that just looked like they would just tip off and start rolling on you at any second. So it was kind of unnerving to go through this section, and knowing we weren't actually on the route, it was supposed to be you just keep moving forward. Michelle, you were I think ahead of me here, looking at getting to the peak.
Yeah, there was one point where we realized we were really off route, but we'd gotten too much into it and come across some really steep loose stuff, and And really, our best bet was just to keep climbing up because at some point we're going to reach the ridge again, and we can make it up to the summit and hopefully find the standard route, easier route coming back down. Because trying to backtrack from where we made it to would have been too difficult with as loose and as steep as the terrain was.
Oh, I hope that's it. Yeah, here's some footprints. Really high. Right at the top.
Okay, so at this point we are finally reaching the summit, and it was quite a spectacular view. Fortunately, when we got up there, it wasn't really windy. It was just a beautiful day, but it's quite the. You have to climb up onto these final pile of rocks here, and you can see the views and the drop-offs on both sides once you're standing up there, off to the right and over to the left there. So it was quite the view. And then we start heading back down. I think we're coming back down here.
Are we still going to the top?
Oh, we're still climbing to the top
going
here.
down to get to the ledge to get to the top.
That's right. You have to drop a little bit before you can come back up because you had some really big boulders that were kind of blocking your climb going up. So you actually have to drop a little elevation and then climb back up.
And then you were looking for the pin that's up there. I'm like, I don't know, I'm good at this block right here behind Michelle.
Yeah, what is it? The U.S.
Geological Survey.
Yeah, they at the top of each of the peaks they put a little marker, and it's hard to find sometimes, but they put it right up at the summit, and it has the elevation marked on it.
It's great that my shoes feel so sandy all of a sudden.
Yeah, but I'll show you some pictures of the view from up there. Pretty spectacular. And then while we're up there, I don't have a video of it, but I'll pop a picture of. I heard this squeak, and there's this marmot looking at us, and we're like, I guess he lives up here.
I think it's right up at 14,000 feet.
It's pretty crazy.
We sat down and took a break right up here, and popped off over the. I heard a little squeaking, turned around, I saw the little paws coming up over the edge
Right
of the
behind
rock,
us.
and his head popped up.
Trying really hard not to curse. This is as high as I'm going. I'm staying here. Here you go. The pin's usually near us anyways. Okay, well I'm going to sit down for a minute. And take some pictures and then get the hell off this hill. Mountain, because I am not enjoying it. View's beautiful. Don't like the feeling. We're making our way back down.
feeling of going down, it's actually a little unnerving because you're facing out for the most part. You're not going backwards, face into the mountain. You're kind of just what you see Michelle and I doing there. Just you're facing out, your butt's scrambling down rocks, and you're just motoring your way back down the hill, but you're looking out. So it's easy. I find it easier. I always think it's going to be harder going down, but it's actually easier going down. But
it's easier to see your route going down, that's for sure. Like picking out a better line. Coming up, we have the sun coming up in our eyes, blocking our view a lot, and then just trying to see above and around all these big rocks. So that part's easier.
you can see the cairns, the little piles of rock that people have placed from above, a lot easier than you can from below. That's for sure.
But you're suddenly a lot more aware of exactly how steep everything is and what the consequence of a fall would be.
Yeah.
Because your focus is looking straight down that slope.
It's pretty steep, for
Going down.
sure.
It's probably me that does that going up. No, it's gotta get to that. Reach the past Michigan's helmet. Once we're there, this is a gnarly part back there.
Okay, we're down back in the Twin Lakes area. I've ditched the goofy skateboarder hat, which is our makeshift rock climbing hat. I got them for $22 each. That was
We
pretty
needed it because
And so there's Mount Eolus, or no, what's it called? Mount Windom, up there. And we are doing the video from here because these storm clouds are coming and we got up there real quick and I was scared to death at the top. It's just these big blocks of rock and I'm like, I am not hanging up here for any longer than I need to.
And we got off the standard route somehow, and so we ended up taking the hard class 3 route up, which made it quite exciting.
I think I was the somehow. It was my fault.
It was Steve's fault. So we had extreme exposure and a lot of loose, steep, big rock we had to climb to make up the summit on this side.
So we should have just clipped our way up there, but I kind of went around here and then up this crazy part.
Yeah. So that was exciting.
So we were going to do North Eolus over here.
You can't see it. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, there you can see it. Just here, right there. But these storm clouds are coming in and everybody that's climbing these peaks around here is bailing and going in because they said if the clouds are starting this early, there's going to be a pretty bad storm this afternoon. So
we're going to head back to camp and see.
Have lunch. Can we have lunch?
Yeah, we're going to eat.
I'm so hungry. And then we're going to probably stay in the tent for the afternoon during the rain and then wake up early tomorrow and then probably take 2 days to get out for that 15 mile hike that we brought in. There's so many deadfalls and we just talked to a guy because it's a wilderness area and I'm like the whole time, why are they not clearing these trees off this trail? Like come in here with some chainsaws. Apparently they're not allowed to have nobody is allowed to have chainsaws in a wilderness area, even to clear deadfalls, so they have to come in and do it by hand. And there's literally hundreds and hundreds of logs.
All over the trail, and you have to climb over them and under them and reroute around them with a heavy pack. It sucks.
I'm so tired. Anyways, there's our day. We'll check in later.